Hello, hello, sweet honeybees. Welcome to the Electric Honey Pot, where energy is the nectar of life. My name is Autumn, and this whole project is about the human experience. The good, the bad, the ugly, and all of the magic that happens in between. I hope you enjoy this absolutely beautiful sunrise that is taking place behind me right now. I am currently at an overlook off of Fontana Lake out in the Great Smoky Mountains, Appalachia. I have really been wanting to stop and record a video kind of recapping my electric forest experience because there were so many magical things that happened, so much synchronicity and aligned encounters to where I really feel like the universe is fully supporting what I am trying to create and build as my legacy for myself and for my mom. I just haven't really had time to do that because on the final night of forest, after everything had closed down at like 2 a.m., my path crossed a man that needed a ride back home to Raleigh, North Carolina. And I just kind of figured, well, I can work on my project while I'm out there because I met some people out in North Carolina recently. So we ran back to my house, picked up my dogs. That way I can kind of do a trial run and see how they handle life on the road, because ultimately that is my goal, is to live on the road, be a traveling podcast where I connect with people in person and help them have a voice and help them be seen. But I haven't really had time to sit down and record anything just because I've been exploring the state. But last night I had a very interesting aligned encounter with a Cherokee man. I had this intuitive knowing that I should go out to Cherokee, that there's someone I need to talk to out there. And it's wild because I was trying to come home day before yesterday, but I decided last minute that I would stay in Charlotte another night because I was like, I feel like I'm supposed to meet with somebody yesterday. And then I end up in Cherokee, and I end up sitting on this kind of history lesson, this oral tradition being passed down by this Cherokee man out in Cherokee, North Carolina. And we had a long conversation afterwards where I just kind of talked a little bit about my life path and my gifts, and he helped me out with some things, which I've really been wanting some spiritual guidance from someone from a culture that's more in tuned. But I woke up early this morning and I'm just driving, trying to get out to Chattanooga, and I pass this road that says B Road. Interesting. Then I see this beautiful overlook and I get out of my car to take some photos. And that's when I hear the buzzing everywhere. And there are literally bees everywhere here right now. Literally everywhere. They are all over the ground. And I just knew that this was the place. This is where I needed to sit down and talk about what I'm trying to create, why I'm trying to create it, what it means to me, and share a little bit more about myself that I have been kind of hesitant to share. I have slowly been sharing more and more about my psychedelic experiences, but I haven't really gone into too much detail about myself and my own path, just a little dabbling here and there. So I'm on a shamanic life path. I didn't choose this. I'm not self-proclaiming myself as one. I realize that people are recognized as shamans by members of their community. I have been told by others how conversations with me help them heal and see other perspectives. And I have had a couple of people call me their shaman. And I realized all of this last year, and I denied it for a very long time because I felt unworthy. What makes me special? But that's the thing. I'm not special. I'm just a person. I'm just a human, like everybody else. This life is special, though, for me. I am on my final life in this life, and I don't want it to go to waste. I want to do something big with this life, and I want to make an impact on the world around me. I want to help leave this world better than the way that I found it. And for a very long time, I mean, even now, I have felt like I do not have a place within society. And so with the Electric Honeypot Project, I am trying to build my place within society. I did not choose... Sorry, my dog is like trying to chase these bees. Oh my gosh. I did not choose to come to this planet and choose this extremely difficult life just to conform to a sick society's expectations of what I am and who I should be, how I should think, how I should behave, and how I should live my life. I am here to live for myself, but I also came here with a mission. I chose this family full of religious and narcissistic abuse. I chose this life where my mom was murdered in a plot for her inheritance by her own family. I chose a life full of multiple traumatic events and being a piece of shit for a good portion of my life because I didn't know how to heal myself yet. Because I had to go through all of those things to learn how to heal. I had to go through all of those things to be able to find myself again and to reawaken to my spirit. In this life, I learned that the greatest gift of all is my humanity and my empathy, my ability to feel and connect to others. I'm a life path 9 in numerology. This is the humanitarian number. And there's all sorts of math that you can do, and it always comes back to a 9. It is the magic number. It is the number that contains all of the other life paths. And it is not an easy path to walk. But it's also very rewarding, because along the way, I have connected with so many beautiful souls. I have connected with others that are tired of the pain and ready to move forward into a better and brighter future. And it is such an honor and a privilege to be able to assist other people in that way. Talking about Electric Forest, that's where the Electric Honeypot really began to take shape. Electric Forest is where I fully began to find myself and understand who I am as a person, who I want to be as a person, and what I want to do with my life and the impact that I want to make on this world. Last year in 2024 was my very first year at Electric Forest, and I almost didn't go. I kept trying to sell my ticket, and these weird circumstances just kept popping up to where I couldn't sell my ticket. So I posted that I needed a ride, and I ended up finding this ride with a girl from Florida, another woman Sorry, I keep saying girl. It's that programming. A woman from Florida and then a woman from Chattanooga connected with me as well, offering a ride, but I told her that I had already found one. I even prayed to Spirit for my own transportation. I had a generator for sale at the time, and this man messaged me on Facebook about my generator and offered to trade me a car for it to get me to Forest, but it didn't have a windshield, and I was like, I'm not driving through Indiana without a windshield. So I was going to ride with this girl from Florida, this woman from Florida. My apologies. But she was running late, kept making up excuses, and something didn't feel right. So I finally messaged the woman from Chattanooga and told her that I still needed a ride. She was like, call me right now. So I gave her a call. She told me she had just made it north of Nashville when I reached out to her. She was exactly 55 miles away from my house and 55 minutes away from my house. 5555. So I knew she was the person I was supposed to ride with. When she picked me up, I immediately connected with her. I gave her crystals, and we immediately began talking about spiritual and psychic experiences. And she had told me that she had felt kind of alone and like she didn't really have people she could talk to about things like that. I love talking to people about things like that because I have also felt alone. And the more that I open up about my spirituality and my spiritual gifts, the more I realize that there are others just like me. They're just scared to reveal themselves. And a lot of that is just the generational trauma where people that are awakened to their gifts have been prosecuted throughout history, primarily through the Christian church. I experienced this as a child. Anyway, there were so many synchronicities on the way up to Forest last year. I even won $100 on a scratch off by following synchronicities. It was a magical experience. And then once I got there, I hardly had any supplies, and the universe took care of me. This wonderful Christian couple set up their camp surrounding me to make sure I was safe. They fed me the first night. The second day, these guys asked to stash their cart by my tent, and so many synchronicities happened with them. My favorite one was probably when Teagues and I were following Maddie, and I can't remember the woman's name. I am so sorry. And we were falling behind on the way to the Giving Tree. And when we get to the Giving Tree, the very first thing I see is a Pokemon card that says Slowpoke. The universe has a sense of humor, you guys. But the real magic took place on Saturday when I decided to dose some acid, some LSD. Those storms were hitting, the fractals in the clouds were absolutely beautiful. The energy in the air was incredible. I was in a tent with Teagues when I started hearing this man behind our tent. Who's there? Who's out there? Where am I? And so I exited my tent, and this complete stranger from several lots over had shut himself in our neighbor's shower canopy. I asked him to come out, and he told me that he was scared to come out of the dark. When he finally came out, he gazed into my eyes, and he told me that he did something bad. And that's when he started talking to me about guilt that he had regarding childhood sexual trauma and online grooming that he experienced. Trauma and trauma responses that mirrored my personal experience exactly. I made some mistakes working with this guy because I was still in the very beginning of my journey and I was still kind of doubting who I was. I reflect back and there's definitely things that I could have done better and ways that I could have handled the situation better. But I still stayed and I talked to this man for around 3 hours about his sexual trauma, helping him process it. Just this complete stranger. And by the end of the weekend, I knew that I eventually wanted the Electric Honey Pot Project to be a nonprofit. My goal is to have my own booth and workshop at festivals where I can provide a space for people to talk about and process trauma, because there are a lot of people out there that feel like they don't have places to talk about these things. I used to be one of those people, and it is an honor to hold space for someone to be so vulnerable about what they have gone through and how it has shaped them as a person. And we heal things by talking about them. And that is my goal. My long-term goal is to turn this project into a nonprofit. But baby steps, right? Fast forward to Forest this year, and I'm really trying to get it off the ground as a podcast. I'm looking for people who are willing to share their personal stories of how they are healing from trauma, discovering who they are as people, and having spiritual awakenings through the music festival community and psychedelic drug use. I decided to dose some acid again on Friday at Forest. When I go to Forest, I typically don't look at the schedule. I just kind of flow through the forest. I dance through the crowds. I am constantly moving, especially if I'm tripping. And that's exactly what I was doing on Friday. I was literally just dancing through the forest, following the energy, and I come across the crossroads by the medical booth near the wind chime. You're going to hear in an episode, you're going to hear the incense man, Steele, talk about this funnel and how he loves to do energy work with incense at this funnel. But I had my own magical experience at this funnel this year. As I'm dancing on by, this man that was sitting on the ground giggling to himself calls out to me. I didn't hear what he said, but it caught my ear. So I turned around and I sat down on the ground with him. I asked him if he was okay. Our interaction started off kind of awkward. I thought he was hitting on me, but it ended up being one of the most special encounters of the weekend to me. His name is Sawyer. I hope I said that right. He listened to me talk about my mom, and we had this deep conversation about reincarnation and the roles that we all play. You know, I would not have had my awakening. I would not be evolving in this life if it were not for what happened to my mom. Her death was a soul contract. And then we talk a little bit about my uncle and how I probably hurt him in a past life. And I know I did. I know I did. I've had dreams about it. But in this life, I'm learning to embrace my humanity and to not respond with hurt, with more hurt. I'm breaking the cycle. I told Sawyer that my entire life, I have felt like I didn't have a voice. My opinion didn't matter. My feelings didn't matter. My experience didn't matter. I felt like I didn't matter. And where I'm at now in my own personal journey, I realize that I can change that. I can give myself a voice. There are a lot of things in life that are beyond my control, but I can give myself a voice. And that's what I'm doing with Electric Honeypot Project. I'm giving myself the voice that my inner child always wanted, that hurt little girl acted out from pain because she wanted it and didn't have it. And I want to help others have that voice too. We all have a story to tell. We all have things to teach and learn from each other. And I want to provide a platform for people to be heard and seen if they want to be heard and seen. Your story matters, just as my story matters. And all of this is part of my legacy. And it is also my mother's legacy, because she didn't get to have that voice. She didn't get to break the chains. She became a victim of it. And she died in a very awful way. And now there's just been all of this fallout from it, which has been difficult to deal with. But I have just been learning to surrender and trust the process, that everything is happening just as it should be happening, and that the truth will eventually come into the light and justice will be served. This project is about genuine human connection and empowerment. It is also about hopefully helping to end some of the stigma and open more people's minds to the potential of psychedelic medicines. Now, I'm not saying to go willy-nilly and use them all the time. You should definitely be using them safely with intention and research. Set and setting is very important. And psychedelic substances do get abused, just as all other substances get abused. But just because there are those that abuse it does not mean that it is not helping other people heal. I would not be alive right now if it were not for DMT, mushrooms, and LSD. I had 3 suicide attempts. 2 of them were nearly successful. I don't know how I survived the 2. And I used to think, why me? But then after I had my DMT experience, my first breakthrough, I just thought, why not me? Maybe I'm built for a higher purpose. And then that's when all the stuff with my mom happened. I haven't hurt myself. I haven't tried to kill myself. Sometimes I have thoughts that I would be better off dead, but I'm no longer like having active thoughts of harming myself or how I would do it. Psychedelics have been helping me reprogram my brain. And I know that it has the potential to do that for other people. But there's all this judgment and hate in mainstream society when it comes to people that go to music festivals or use psychedelic substances. And all of that hatred comes from people not understanding. You know, we judge and hate things that we fear and we do not understand. It is all fear-based. That is why the world is in the state that it is in right now. And I'm hoping by others sharing their stories, I can have this catalog showing the potential and help expand the minds of society and help heal the world. Going back to meeting Sawyer, after I told him about what I'm trying to create and why I'm trying to create it, he calls over one of the medical workers that helped him when he was not in a good headspace on his mushrooms, and she helped bring him back. He told her that she needs to listen to my story. And I told her a little bit about what happened to my mom. I told her about what my family's done, this project I'm trying to create, and why I'm trying to create it. And she told me that she has a friend that is an anthropologist with a wide web of connections, and he is currently studying psychedelics and their aid in healing and human evolution. And I really hope that I hear from this man, because I want to help him with his research. I have been communicating with deities, archangels, mythological creatures. I've communicated with a dragon. I have communicated with Hermes, Archangel Michael, Hades. There's been a lot of absolutely wild things that have been happening over the last year. In fact, I have had the Morrigan and Hecate following me around all day today. I've been seeing the synchronicities everywhere. And that's another thing psychedelics help with, is pattern recognition. There's a saying that the schizophrenics and the psychotics drown in the same waters where the mystics and the shamans swim. I have come to understand in my own personal journey that a lot of these things that we label as mental illness, they're just, some of them are normal human conditions. Others are like botched third eye openings, in my opinion. Please stop. I apologize. My dogs are very vocal and barky sometimes. I thought I was going crazy when I had my awakening, but once the dust cleared and settled and I realized what was going on, everything's been fine. In a lot of other cultures where shamans are prevalent, when community members began to display signs that they have these gifts, they would be taught, they would have a mentor that would help them understand their gifts and help them navigate having these gifts. And Western society just does not have that. I've kind of lost my train of thought due to all of the chaos going on with my dogs. So I am just going to continue with my electric forest story and the synchronicities that took place. The universe was literally aligning me with people and opportunities all weekend. So I feel like the universe is fully supporting me in what I'm trying to create. Everything's real rough and raw right now. And if you are following me and you're listening to what I am putting out there in low quality audio, low quality videos, I am so grateful. We all start somewhere, right? And I'm still also trying to get more comfortable when it comes to speaking on camera with other people. I'm really good at conversation when there's not a camera in my face, but the moment there's a camera, it's kind of like deer in headlights. I'm also trying to get better about actually recording, because I am really bad about just having conversations and not recording. Because I am the kind of person that tries to detach as much as possible from technology. But what I'm trying to create, I have to involve technology. But it's all going to work out. I have faith. The universe has faith in me. I see the signs every single day. This has been a really beautiful trip. I got to speak with some amazing people coming out to North Carolina. I had hoped to connect with the man that I had met at Bonnaroo while I was out here, but he hasn't opened my messages. That's okay. So I wanted to film this all in one go, but that is just not what happened, losing my train of thought with the chaos with my dogs. Forgetting some things. I had wanted to connect with that man from North Carolina, and it's okay that I didn't, because I wouldn't have ended up in Cherokee. I wouldn't have met that Cherokee man last night and listened to him talk and then asked him a couple of things about my own experience and spirituality. I wouldn't have ended up at this absolutely beautiful overlook with the bees. You just got to trust divine timing. It all happens in divine timing. I did forget one thing that I wanted to mention about Sawyer. Talking about the acid, it's all been LSD at Forest that has put me in with these connections and helped me discover myself. And at one point, Sawyer said we should trade some candy. He was looking for a specific one and he couldn't find it, so he told me to pick. And I closed my eyes and I picked one. He asked me which one I got, and when I showed him the colors, he's like, no way. It has the chemical symbol for LSD. I just intuitively picked this one off of his wrist. And that's the whole connection. The power of psychedelics. Well, I have just kind of been rambling on a little bit here for 33 minutes and 22 seconds. Oh, so I am going to hop off here, but I want to close it out. If you have a story that you want to tell, please reach out to me. You can find me on Instagram under Electric Honeypot. I would love to hold space for you and to hear your story. I am mobile. My goal is to travel and have these conversations in person because I believe it is more meaningful than having them through a screen. Please reach out to me. I would love to hear your story. I would love to give you a voice and help you feel seen. I would love to experience your energy and learn who you are as a person, because I find people absolutely fascinating. So yeah, message me on Instagram, Electric Honeypot. And if you are trying to get in on some of that music festival magic, Halloween is happening over Halloween weekend this year, so you know it's going to be special. And I have a code. You can use Electric Honey and you'll get some money off of your ticket. It's the festival I have found that has the closest vibes to Forest, and I highly recommend it. Well, I hope you have an absolutely wonderful rest of your day, night, week, month, year, and life. I love you so much, and I'm very grateful that you're here. Stay curious.